Hello, good evening, everybody. It's Thursday night and it's the Handicap. Welcome. As you can see, Brent is not with us today, so I'll be running the show for him. He's down in Cape Town actually at a bachelor's. Obviously, probably wonder how many toots down the line he is already, but yeah, he's down there. He's with Oracle and a few of the other boys that we know, so I'm sure he's having a great time. But yeah, looking forward to holding the reins here today. We got plenty of rugby to get through. Got the English Premiership starting this weekend, which I know is quite a favourite for a lot of the punters out there, especially myself as well. The conductors heavily involved, and yeah, we were hopeful. As you guys might have, obviously big news with the Queen passing today. We was just discussing whether these games do go ahead, or maybe it's even next weekend when there's probably going to be a funeral. But anyway, we don't have any news that it's off, so we'll still crack on this evening. And as you see, we got a very familiar face and a very new face in the show, which is very nice to join us. And would definitely call him an English rugby specialist. John Newcombe, welcome to the show and welcome to it. Your first time around, and glad to have you on.
Thank you very much, Chris. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Do you have any? You want to tell us about yourself? What you get up to? What's your part in sport and rugby? I know you're in some media company and all of that. So yeah, if you want to give the viewers a little background.
Yeah, I've been pretty much involved in rugby in the media since the early noughties. I worked online for a company called Team Talk, with ghostwriting columns initially for people like Jason Robinson and Sean Edwards. That was a pretty good grounding. And then I managed a couple of years later to become editor of the first ever weekly rugby union newspaper in England, called Rugby Times, which ran until 2009. Eventually got superseded by the Rugby paper, who I contribute towards now. I also contribute towards the Rugby Journal, which is like a quarterly coffee table style publication. Work online on the World Rugby website. Do a lot of work, background work for commentators and producers and directors on TV coverage of rugby, including BT Sport, Channel 4, ITV, on World Cup, Six Nations, Heineken Champions Cup, Gallagher Premiership, and other bits and pieces where I can fit it all in.
Yeah, busy man. Yes, I know you well versed in rugby, and I also see obviously I've seen acquaintances with quite a few of the guys as well, the ex-pros and whatnot. So yeah, that's great. Just quickly, John, I don't know if your sound's not that great, John. We can hear you. I don't know, conductor, are you hearing John all right?
It's breaking up a little bit, and it's maybe a little bit soft.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep going. I can hear you. It's probably just not as clear as it could be, but yeah, John, we'll just if it does break, and then we'll just give you a shout. Conductor, good fine, sir. How are you today?
Yes, well, yourself, Chris, mate. Yeah, good to join you lads on a Thursday night and chat some rugby. Absolutely heaps of rugby to look forward to this weekend with, like you say, Gallagher starting, man, being chomping at the bits. I love this tournament. Yeah. It's probably my favorite league by miles. The players, the refs, everything makes it a fantastic league. I can't wait to see Harlequins get back out there. Great to see them. And yeah, of course, NPC as well, New Zealand. And top 14. That was quite kind to me last weekend. And nice to have the World Cup Sevens in Cape Town this weekend as well. Hopefully the Blitzwalker can send Neil Powell off with a good win this weekend. So yeah, absolutely heaps of rugby, and looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also another obviously sad news was the passing of Willie Lucet, who pronounced his name. Yeah, great little commentator from New Zealand. Yeah, he'll be a big miss. He'll be missed on the sevens. He was the voice of it. So yeah, obviously thinking of his family and so on. So yeah, let's crack on. Let's get into Premiership. Yeah, we'll do a little season preview, have a feel of what we feel, how the season might go for certain teams and players. I'll let you boys kick off and crack on with it. Conductor, if you've got any initial thoughts you want to share on the season ahead.
Well, I think John will obviously, like you say, will probably be the expert and put me to shame. To be honest, I haven't deep dived too much into Gallagher. I've had a look at the team sheets and the transfers and things like that, and obviously the first weekend is all about fitting in those new players. Obviously they've had preseason or preseason friendlies, etc. I never read into those games, but it's always great to see the movement between the teams and new players slotting into new teams, etc. In terms of fancies, outright. Obviously guys will probably be looking at series. They probably would be favourites, but my big favourites and a team I really enjoy. I think they're well coached by George Kivington is Gloucester. They've got a loose show from absolute heaven. It's great to see Jake Belledri back. He had a horrific injury, injuries. I think his knee very, very badly. He's great to see him back. Albert Tuasui from London Irish, also a wrecking ball at 8. So I mean, it's absolutely, and that driving maul or rolling maul from Gloucester is an absolute nuclear weapon. So when it gets going, it's pretty much unstoppable. So it's going to be interesting to see how Wasps cope with it this weekend. But just looking at a bit of value and something to keep me interested in the long term, I probably would stick some Randellas on Gloucester at about 14 to 1, 15 to 1.
All right, you're going for the full house, eh? You're going for the whole whack, yeah? You reckon they have a good chance of actually taking the title?
Well, I mean, if you look at the players they've got, right? I mean, like I said, I mentioned a couple of the Lucies. I mean, absolutely manic Lucies. And then, you combine that with really incredible pace in the back line. Many internationals in that back line. I really like the way Adam Hastings pulls the strings, and you've got guys like Louis Visa that's to come back, and Chris Harris in the centres. I mean, Jesus, that's actually class in that Gloucester side. So for me, there's no real reason why they can't get close to or in and around that final.
Yeah, no, I agree, boys. When I was looking at it, Gloucester stuck out to me as well. I totally agree. I think they weren't far off from the semis last season as well, and yeah, they're only going to get better, you would think. I think I agree. I think the top two are tied up, Saracens and Leicester, but I think the next two spots are all up to grab, in my opinion. John, welcome.
Yeah, it's almost like the conductor's read my script there, because he's pretty much said everything I was going to say about Gloucester. I mean, I come from Bath, which, as you're probably aware, they're arch rivals of Gloucester. And I saw Gloucester put 60 points on Bath last season. It was probably the lowest point of my rugby watching life as a Bathonian. But beating Bath by 60 odd points doesn't count for a lot when you look at last season, the way they performed. But yeah, over the course of the season, Gloucester definitely kicked on from the season before. They always say that a third season for a coach is a big season, and I do think the Cherry and Whites will deliver on the promise that's been mentioned already. I said a couple of seasons ago when I was previewing the 2019-2020 season that they were probably the team with the biggest improvement in them, and I think that will apply again today. So hence the decent odds that you're going to get on them. I think the 5-2 on them finishing top 4 is a really good bet. We got Leicester. We were perhaps a tad fortunate there that they were 11-2 to finish in the playoffs, but that one came good for us. Never thought they would go on and win it, which they did, obviously, thanks to that last minute drop goal. But so we've got a good track record with top 4 bets. So we'll go for Gloucester to back up Leicester last season. Not so sure about Leicester finishing top 2 though. I just have a little feeling that last season's title was an opportunist win, because Exeter, who have been for a long time up there, they were well below their best. They were found out a little bit with their possession-based tactics and the new dropout ruling counted against them, as Rob Baxter even admitted the other day. The likes of Northampton were still a team in progress. Gloucester a team in progress. Saracens had only just come back up. You look at Harlequins, they weren't so fortunate with a lack of call-ups for international duty and injuries, which they had been the year before when they won it. So they had plenty of players away and they didn't have that continuity, which was such a key to their success. So if ever there was a season right on the back of COVID as well, for a team to sort of emerge without anyone sort of under the radar, so to speak, it was last season, and Leicester took advantage. I'm not so sure they're quite as good as perhaps people think they are.
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, no one saw that coming, right? The season before that COVID season, they were about to be relegated, weren't they? And then they came shot up, and they've brought some of the youngsters that have come through flying covers. And what you like I said, probably what you're going to find now is a lot of those guys have got England call-ups as well, so they're not going to have a lot of the backbone of the team that made them successful through the season. I mean, I think they got Gopperth, right, and Pollard, which is going to be useful.
Pollard won't be around for a while though, will he? And you don't know how long it's going to take him to acclimatise, and he's pretty different by after George Ford as well.
Yeah. So I mean, guys, I agree. I agree with you on the Gloucester team. I was looking at Gloucester. I would say my other not dark horse, the other team I fancy for top four is actually Bristol. I did like. I mean, I thought they were going to kick on from the season before when they did so well, and I think they're going to kick with the guys they have brought in. With Genge and McGinty, I think those players are really ready to get them going back. I think they're going to be back to a force that they should be. So I'm quite liking both Gloucester and Bristol for a top four finish this season. I think Harlequins, haven't done much change. I think they're getting a bit stale, so I think they might battle. And Exeter as well seem to be like on the downward trend, right? So I quite like Bristol and Gloucester to come through again.
Yeah,
so,
I definitely see Bristol improving on last season. The season they did well in winning the Challenge Cup and reaching the semis when they should have gone on to reach the final had it not been for that miracle comeback from Harlequins. They played, obviously, that offloading style of rugby, keep ball in play and keep the tempo high, and it worked really well for them. Then last season, they seemed to go away from that a little bit. I'm not sure whether that was forced on them because of injuries to Brad Radra and Pietau and other key players, especially in the midfield, but they definitely changed things and not for the better. Now, if they go back to how they were 2 seasons ago, and there's no reason why they can't do that, because they've still got some of those key personnel in place, then they could really push on and push for the playoffs, definitely.
Yeah. And yes, that's your Gloucester for your top four, quite strong fancy. There's any other ones to try scorers points? I know you had Ford last season. He came in the end, did he? I'm sure he did.
Right? I was robbed.
Yeah, that's right. I remember. Yes, because I was.
Do you want to hear my tale of woe? Well, Eddie Jones and his selection policy that screwed me up because he brought him in for the Six Nations due to injuries, then hardly played him. So the ranks he missed there counted against him. Then Ford came back in, was banging them over again. And obviously the rules say it's only for the regular season. So he did finish top point scorer, but he needed that the playoff game and the bit that he lasted in the final to get him top. So unfortunately, the 40-1 shot didn't come off, and Louis Liner at 50-1 to be top try scorer. That was looking good as well. We're getting a good run for our money, but again, Mr. Jones messed around with him, pulling him into the training camp and picked up niggling injuries and wasn't the same player in the second half of the season. Yeah, there are a few opportunities knocking around there. It's definitely not clear cut, but top try scorer, I've done a bit of a deep dive into some of the stats, and it's quite surprising, really, that I think a team who's finished top in the regular season hasn't provided the top try scorer for a number of years, only once in the last 15 seasons. So it doesn't automatically apply that the team who finishes top of the pile will have the top try scorer.
Yeah. So is there anyone you want to shout out? Any odds? Anything that you fancy?
Well, looking at Gloucester, one outside bet, Ollie Thorley. He was joint top try scorer 2 seasons ago. Had a quiet couple of seasons. You've got Johnny May and Reece Samet, who are obviously your first choice, but they're going to be away on international duty a lot. You've got Carreras as well. I think if Thorley can recapture that form from 2 seasons ago, and Gloucester will look to perhaps utilise their back line a little bit more, whereas in the past they've perhaps concentrated on the rolling wall heavily, he could get some opportunities. Ollie Hassel-Collins at London Irish, they score tries for fun. They've got the benefit of continuity in their back line. They've got that sort of telepathic understanding where they've all come up through the system. He'll get plenty of chances, although there's never been a London Irish top try scorer. And nor has there ever been a Harlequins top try scorer, although Caden Murley, another name that I'd like to mention, he came pretty close last season. He was one short of Max Malins. Malins and Lewington and Saracens, they should be there or thereabouts as well.
Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a cracking season, and looking forward to it. Just a quick recap for the guys who will listen. Obviously, Conductor likes Gloucester there for the title. John likes Gloucester top 4, and so do I. But I also really like Bristol sneaking in there, and a few try scorers. I definitely agree. Thorley, and Caden Murley and some of the guys that John's mentioned also have a good shot for top try scorer. So yeah, so that we can move into the first round matches this weekend, and we're starting with an absolute cracker, aren't we? The derby, the East Midlands derby, is it called?
No, West Country.
West Country, that's it, West Country. So, well, my Bristol boys, I'm going to back in a lot this season, I think, against your boys, and I'm quite, we could start with you, conductor. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, look, Chris, as John pointed out, the West Country derby, so definitely both teams going to be up for this game. Obviously, Bristol and Bath, both off the back of disappointing seasons. I can't imagine what John went through as a Bath supporter. That was, I know, also a couple of Bath supporters, and man alive, they were on that suicide hotline a few times with some of those games, etc. But look, obviously, refresh and reset with the new season coming on board. Just at Bath, obviously with the Hunt van Kraan coming across from Munster, taking with him JP Ferreira. I was actually in matric. I was in school with JP Ferreira, so I managed to watch his comments on one of our WhatsApp groups. So by the sounds of it, they've changed quite a bit at Bath in terms of the whole dynamic. The way the club is integrated. They're integrating a lot of all the players together. Trying to make a more sort of cohesive environment, trying to sort of shake things around, because it was a bit of a shambles right at the end there. But yeah, I mean, I'm quite excited for Bath's season. Obviously Johan hasn't picked, or I don't know if he didn't really push for Will Stewart or Singer or Sam Underhill to play. But nevertheless, I still like the side. He's obviously brought Chris Cloutey over from Munster. That Cloutey, Jaco Kutsia has also had a bad run with injuries. It would be nice to see him have a good run, and Josh Bayliss, not the biggest loose trio, but nice and mobile around the paddock. Ben O'Connor is another guy who's maybe struggled a bit with injuries. Going to be nice to see him hopefully have an injury-free run and have a go at this. I would have thought Orlando Bailey would have started, but obviously he's trusted with Piers Francis. I do like Spence at 9. I really rate him as a 9, and obviously he's been handed the captaincy armband, so will be good to see him go. And a guy like McConaughey, he's still to come back, but there's enough class in that back line to keep it within this. I like the plus there. Focusing on Bristol, I do hear what you're saying in terms of their prospects to do well in the Premiership. Obviously, they had a bit of a poor season last season, but for me, two essential players that they had the season before that are missing. Obviously was guys that were on loan from Saracens, was Max Malins and Ben Earl. I thought they were absolutely fantastic for Bristol and really aided that running game. I think Bristol may come right. Obviously, looking very thin in the back row there. Stephen Luatua injured, Fritz Harding injured. Sorry, there's another chap. Dan Harding. Fritz Harding, that's it. He's injured. And obviously the big one, Semi Randrandra. I mean, he's just an absolute, even if he doesn't break the game open, he just attracts so much attention that midfield, he frees up other players on the outside, and obviously missing the other flyer, Nualago. Still a couple of injuries for Bristol, sorry. But obviously, that starting front row with Genge and Sinclair is going to be one to watch. It's really, two incredible props going at it there. And I'm a big fan of Caleb Sheedy. Absolutely. I think he's a class 10. So and Piers O'Connor in the centres there. So decent enough Bristol side, but for me, I'm not a biggest Johan van Kraan fan, to be quite honest. I just don't think he's that dynamic. I was reading some of the things he was saying. I don't know if he's really pushing the guys to be upfront with us. I think it's, by the sounds of it, he's taking more of a slow build approach to getting Bath right. But I still like Bath on the plus. Weather looks okay in Bristol tomorrow night. I see the points line's about 52.5, I think. Matthew Carley on the whistle. He's a fairly overs ref. So it might be a nice overs game. Well, we hope for a nice game to kick off a Friday night. So it's televised as Super Sport. So But my fancy there, nothing big. Like I said, I don't get heavily involved in the opening weekend of Gallagher. It's new combinations, new players, etc. There could be some errors. Guys can get right. Obviously, they've played pre-season, but not at the intensity of Gallagher. So I'm leaning towards Bath in the plus here.
Yeah, actually, I did it. This is a cap I got off World Sports Betting, by the way. Conducted. I'm getting actually 10 on some of my sites, so you'll be disappointed to hear that. But I think 10 is where I'm definitely going to be. I know I've set up back Bristol, and I do for the season long. I still think they win the game. They probably might not win it by 10. I agree, because we don't know what Bath's going to come, right? I think it's a derby, first game of the season. This could be anything. You got to be on the plus there, in my opinion. John, what are you thinking here? Your team Bath. Also, what are your thoughts on the new coach? How are you feeling about this? How are you feeling about the season? And how do you feel about this game?
What he's been saying since he's come in reminds me of John Connolly. In that it's a back to basics approach, solid set piece, aggressive defence, superior fitness to what they've had before. So I think they will improve, but it's not difficult not to improve after what they put us through last season. I also think they'll give less penalties away, because that was a real problem at the scrum. And having Pereira in there as defence coach may help in terms of how they deal with referees, because I believe, the conductor will probably tell me if I'm wrong, that his brother's a World Rugby referee. So he's got a hotline. There's no excuses now. There's a hotline to the officials. So Bath should be a lot more disciplined. So I think there will be incremental improvements from Bath. I don't think they have any X Factor players, unfortunately. The likes of Rocker Taguni have gone, Anthony Watson have gone, going back further, the likes of Offendon, and people that could light up a game. They don't really have those players anymore. So I think there'll be a relatively low scoring team, and that will hold them back. You need to score points nowadays in the Gallagher Premiership. It's such an entertaining league nowadays. So I actually will go against both of you here. And I think even with 10 points, Bristol should be good enough just to cover that handicap.
Okay. Was not expecting that, but yeah, very cool. All right, let's move on to the next game. This is Sale versus Northampton. As well, Sales also had a whole lot of wholesale changes. Northampton also got some, I think they got those two queens in it. Sakalai Loco, his name. I think the two queens and boys are in there, which is I think their backline's amazing. So I think they strengthened their pack there nicely. Yeah, so yeah, John, what do you feel how this game is going to go? I wonder how these teams might go this season.
Just looking at the teams, I just fancy Sale here. I don't think Sale will pull up any trees this season overall, but at home, looking at the team that they've got out to Largy in midfield, they've got strength in depth, certainly in the forwards on the bench to come on if the game's not going particularly well. Whereas Saints are missing a lot of key players. Courtney Laws because of his 10-week window. Dan Bigger. There's a couple of other big players out as well. Grayson at 10 still got to prove himself at the highest level consistently. So I just think there's more question marks about this Saints side. I think Saints are good. They're another like Gloucester who have the potential to certainly do better and maybe make the playoffs. I think Sell away, first game up, it's never an easy place to go. Even if you manage to negotiate your way there through the Friday night traffic. So I'm going to go with Sale to cover that as well. I'm going to go with Sale on the Mines.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Conductor, what's your thoughts?
Jeez, I'm all at sea here. Thankfully I'm going small on these opening games because I'm scared I'm going against John here now. I probably might be going the wrong way here, but I 100% agree. The Northampton starting team is not horrendous. I think their bench is a little bit light, and not the strongest of bench. I think Sale bench is far stronger. I do like that Northampton starting team, like you say, Salakai Lotto and Angus Scott Young coming in.
I smashed it. Thank you for getting that right.
And absolute brute of a eighth man and Janu Augustus. As you say, missing Dan Bigger. Courtney Laws is also a big one. I think Freeman and Hutchinson is also as well also missing there from that Saints side. But I think there's, to me, still enough in that Saints side to keep it tight in the first half. I'd probably look at the first half handicap as I if I haven't looked at the stats yet, but I think the second half, specifically the last 20 minutes, is where Northampton can come undone sometimes. And looking at that bench, it may be just a weakness of theirs. And a guy like Alex Mitchell can run for 50 minutes, and then sometimes his burners absolutely shuts off, and he just goes a bit quiet. So I mean, like I said, and but the sales side, not massively impressive. Obviously, Johnny Hill, he's come through from Exeter. He's not starting, and obviously George Ford and Rafi Quirk, both with niggles, they're not starting. Not massively up with Rob Dupree at 10. It's difficult to trust him sometimes. He can blow very hot and cold. I mean, when you got a absolute bruiser like Manito Longi in the centres, it's tough to oppose that. And obviously the Dupree brothers, and then obviously Ben Curry, in the loose, he's very decent loose show. But for me, like I said, no big bets on this opening weekend, but I like that Northampton Saints on their first half. Plus, there again, we're trying to figure out, obviously Chris Boyd is doing coaching via Zoom or, phone calls, etc. And Dawson and Vesti is brought, come in as coaches to fill that gap. And we don't quite know how they're going to go, what is the effect of Chris Boyd. I think Northampton won the last 6 out of the last 7 games last season. So really finished off the season strongly. So I expect him to start off okay. To me, Sale sometimes struggle to cover big minuses or cover the minuses. So that's why I like Northampton just to start off well. I think Northampton have won 2 out of the last 3 opening season games. So they do tend to go well in that opening game.
I'd agree with you there. Sale are a notorious handicap killer, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've been burnt a few times. So, yeah, you can perhaps persuade me to go back on what I said.
As you've been talking to conductor as well, and never mind Sale not covering handicaps Friday nights. I don't know. Sale have got me off to a bad start to weekend on a Friday night at home many a time. So I think you might have swayed me out of that one as well, because I was on Northampton quite a bit last season as well. I picked up a few nice spots with them, so you might have swung me over there, conductor.
Was it last year or the year before with opening? I still remember. I think it was Sale on the opening night on Friday nights, and I think I backed
something. They're due to
and then Rob Dupree was on his own 5-meter line and kicked the ball across the field. and then conceded a try. I still couldn't believe it. I think my neighbours thought somebody was getting murdered in my house with the reaction after that one. Because
Sale did beat Saints 32-23. Just have a look at the results seasons ago in round 1. Yeah. So,
and I think
that was when Sale plus Rob Dupree went straight in the bin.
and also now that we're talking, I think if I remember, I think for me, Sale, Faf and McGinty were everything that they did well. And with them not there, they might take a while for them to bet in these new combos. So, and now I think I've really convinced myself that I'll be on Northampton back tomorrow.
Can I just go back to the West Country Derby? So just one point I didn't make about that was that Piers Francis was signed as a 10.
Yes.
So I had a look at the stats, as you do. And he hasn't started a Premiership game at 10 since March 2018. So that's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. He's had a long run with injuries and concussions. He's a quality player, but he's not been at his best for a long time. And now he's thrown in at number 10 in front of 15, 20,000 people at Ashton Gate, trying to steer the ship. A ship that's had a lot of changes, 4 debuts in 15. I think Bath will lack a little bit of shape and will struggle to get those points that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, fair shout. There might be a lot of rust in those wheels. Hey.
I mean, John. do you think that? Sorry, I know I'm not going to hop on the subject too long, but do you think that Van Kraan is trying to find the correct balance between respectable results and trying to find his best selections at this level? Because it's difficult, like you say. Maybe he's just trying something new, and maybe he's not really investing too much in the results rather than trying to find his better selections going forward.
I think there's definitely some truth in that, definitely, because especially with no relegation, what have they got to lose? He doesn't have that pressure. If they go 6 games into the season, they've only won 1. He's under massive pressure to get results if there's relegation at the end of it. as we all know, Bath would have been relegated last season had there been relegation. So he does have that luxury. And yeah, he'll just be looking to embed his template on the team, won't he? And this is how we want to play, and he'll try and get him to repeat it week after week, week after week. I just don't think it'll be too exciting for Bath fans. But like I said, under John Connolly, they got to the top of the table eventually with the best defence, the best scrum. And then they went on to lose it in 2004 to Wasps because they only scored 6 points because they didn't know another way to play. I worry that under Johan van Graan, you probably know better than me, but having spoken to some Munster fans, he's not the miracle worker that we need.
No, he's not inspirational, is he?
No, I also that's right.
Yeah.
He's not somebody that would come in and absolutely shake the tree. For me, great turnaround coaches are guys like Eddie Jones and Jake White, and because they come in with huge egos and they really, really shake things around and get things going. I mean, with the resources that Van Graan had at Munster, it wasn't overly an amazing tenure there. But
no, they weren't even close, were they, to ending Leinster's monopoly? They never looked like beating Leinster in the big game.
But like I said, all the best to Johan and JP and Manho. Hopefully they go one at off.
It was a bit of a left field appointment, you would think, for Bath, right? Do not think of how Bath play, but maybe in recent years with the open game, then maybe a loose game, you would say, but maybe that's why they're trying to bring it back to those, Bath rugby more than we do. I think those better Bath teams of the past, like you said, with doing the basics right, big packs, right, getting it done simply, right? So maybe that's what they need, but yeah, it's an inspiration. But let's move on. Let's move on to Exeter versus Leicester. Another cracking game to start the season, isn't it? So, John, you have thoughts for this one?
Well, as the handicap line shows, it's a really tough one to call, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone will be really interested to see whether that Exeter season was just a blip, whether they have managed to reset. Rob Baxter was saying that they perhaps lingered too much about COVID and, not getting back to the togetherness and the cohesion that they had before, and just let the sort of bad feeling post-COVID linger on too much. They've lost big players in every sense of the word in Johnny Hill, Sam Skinner. That's them, and Don Armand retired from the back row.
Flaherty in the backs. He was underrated. He does a good job.
But, it's still a squad laden with talent. Stuart Hogg and Jack Knoll, you'd have them as two of the best back three players in Northern Hemisphere rugby. Jack Knoll was more of a creator. I mean, he's 50 to 1 to be top try scorer, and you'd think that somebody like him would get his fair share of tries, but actually, he's never got more than 8 in a season, so I'd probably steer away from him. But he does create a lot of opportunities. Hogg knows how to create and to finish. They've still got quality. There'll still be a match for all the big teams. And, Leicester will find it tough. It really is a tough one to call. But because of what I said earlier about how I think Leicester might not be found out, but might not quite touch the same heights as last season, I'm going to go with the Chiefs just to edge it. So I've got every belief in Rob Baxter. Believe in Rob.
Yeah, I know. Exeter was when Northampton was a good side for me in Bristol last season. Exeter, every time I decided to give them a go, they were doing those weird home games. And anyway, I also think that was a little bogey season. But we got, just want to bring up some comments. Got Jan Esterhuizen, he's a regular on our show and a regular with his treble. He's like in the Saints there, like in Gloucester minus, that's against Wasps, so we haven't got there yet, and Hawke's Bay and these trebles. So have a look at that. Conductor, what do you feel on this game?
Absolutely. It's a split decision, in terms of Leicester so dominant last year. But for me, I really like Exeter on the board here. Sandy Park is never an easy place to play. As John says, Exeter have lost Sam Skinner and Johnny Hill. That's two instrumental players in Rob Baxter's setup there. But still, there's some decent talent there. I enjoy Johnny Gray there at Exeter. This a Welsh youngster, Cross. I always stuff his name up. Apologies, mate. Cross Chunza. Yeah, sort of more something like that. Capsic is okay. But Noel and Stuart Hogg, absolutely fantastic there in the background, in the back line. I think Simmons as well, running the show at 10. Until his brother gets back at 8. Great to see him back. Great to see him back. Always one of my favorite Prem players. Interesting signing in Solomon Kata from the Brumbies. I think he was a Moana Pacifica the last Moana Pacifica, I think it was no. What was the other one? It was Pacifica. I think he was from Pacifica. So interesting to see him at centre. So as I said, Sandy Park, not an easy place to play. The weather looks okay in Devon this weekend. I was hoping for some muck weather. It seems that the Chiefs do seem to thrive in that sort of tough conditions. But for me, Leicester, obviously no Hunter Pollard at the moment. So I assume Freddie Burns will go in at 10. For me, a big and key player for Leicester is Freddie Stewart at 15. He's just an absolute machine at those up and unders. As we saw in that Australia versus England series, man alive, he can take a high ball. So, Leicester missing a couple of players as well. Obviously, Genji off to Bristol. So, it'll be interesting to see. But I do rate Steve Borthwick as a good coach. And obviously, Aled Walters, the guy that was a physio for the Springboks in the 2019 World Cup. He showed how valuable he was in terms of the management of players at Leicester and the overall fitness. So I reckon it'll be a tight game, but I still like Exeter to edge this.
Yeah, I think I agree with you boys as well. I think Exeter home is just always, no matter who they're playing, is hard to oppose. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, when a team have a big season, when they come back the next season, they're not always at the same pace when they're right at the start of the next season. So I'm not expecting Leicester to be out the blocks myself. So I also quite like Exeter. I like my 1 to 10, 1 to 12 as well. So I might have a look at that. Just also quickly go into the comments. The guys just got the other games you spoke about back in our Northampton sentiment there. Farid, sales defense too good, but Northampton scores tries. He likes the plus. And Maddox Odds, who's also often on the show, and I have conversations with. He's full of stats and spreadsheets like you can't believe, and his spreadsheet has popped out in Northampton as well. So he's on the same boat as us there. Let's move on to the next game, guys. London Irish Worcester. Do you guys have any news on that? Because that looks like it's not happening, right? Do you guys have any? Just
feel so sorry for Worcester players. An absolute shocking. What's happening there? Let's hope Sandington prevails and Worcester are able to get themselves out of the mess. Hopefully they can sort their tax issues out. If there's anybody in the world or that, as a manager, that can keep a team together, I reckon it's Steve Diamond. I really love him as a character, hard nosed, no nonsense, really good guy. So I'm hoping, it works out there. Pandy the game will go ahead according to what I've seen, but with the way things are going in Worcester and the way things are going in England with the passing the Queen, we might not get that game this weekend. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone see any early caps. I didn't. I only looked today, to be honest. I'm not sure. I probably would say Irish would be favourites 7 to 10, somewhere around there. I don't know, but that's just my off the hat guess. But as you guys can see,
with Irish on that.
Yeah, I agree.
Going with Irish if it was only 7 to 10. 20 on easy.
I don't know what I had to having capped it. That was just my first offer, but I agree. I think Worcester,
You just got to wonder what frame of mind the Worcester players are in. Sometimes this kind of thing galvanizes people, or sometimes it tears you apart because really at the end of the day, you're like, well, I'm running out. I could, break my neck, and I'm not getting paid for it. Really is the incentive there. Ultimately we love this game and we love to watch, but these guys need to put food on the table and need to try and secure their life off the rugby. So, really they need to put themselves first, and that means being paid.
It really is a tough situation for the Premiership, for everyone who works at the club, for the community. I mean, for the players, it's the worst possible time to have the axe hanging over your job, because I think we went into the season anyway, before this happened, with about 80 players out of contract, looking for gigs. Yeah. Because of the salary cap squeeze, COVID and everything else. It's a chance for them to put themselves in the shop window, but not many other clubs have any room in their budget. So, there'll be a lot of emotional energy knocking around, and like Dr. says, that can really be a force for good in terms of on-field performance. And that's another reason, going back to Gloucester, why Leicester last season, there was a lot of emotion around Welford Road because of Tom Young's wife sadly ended up in a battle against cancer. But there was a real togetherness in that squad, a sense of doing it for Tom. And with Gloucester, again, there's a lot of emotional energy and togetherness in the camp at the moment because of Ed Slater's diagnosis for MND. Really terrible, tremendous blow, is Ed Slater. And I think they're all galvanised together to help him. But, that could only serve to bring them closer together on the pitch as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think this game does go in. I think I probably look at the points here, to be honest. If I can get anything mid-early 50s, I'll be looking at points over the cap.
It's Wayne Barnes on the whistle as well.
Yeah, well, there we go. If they are, that's what I'll be looking for if this goes in. I also have noticed there's a troll on the show. How's the lads' bachelors going well? Out of the good game alias. That was not me, so that could only be a certain Mr. Brent. We were hoping to do a live broadcast to the event, but we couldn't work that one out. But I see he's popped his head in. So how's it, Brent? Hope it's going well there. I think it's going well here too. Hope you're enjoying your evening. We'll move on to the next game, Newcastle Quins. Not much from my side on this one, but yeah, Brendan, conductor, what do you feel?
Yeah, Chris, I managed to snap a bit of -5.5 here on Harlequins. This line didn't seem quite right. I think Newcastle missing their Argentinians at the moment in the centres there. I looked at their run-on side in their friendlies. Yeah, there's nothing really that scares me there. Obviously, Harlequins missing a couple of players, Alex Dombrant and Danny Kerr, and I think they're missing Dombrant if I'm not mistaken. They're definitely missing Danny Kerr and Marcus Smith. But Tommaso Allen, he's more than good. He's more than a capable replacement at 10, being an international. The Harlequins side has got more than enough depth to cover. The guys being out there. This line doesn't seem right to me. So, like I said, I've taken a big snap on -5.5. I do understand Newcastle will be pumped for the game, and they've got a massive danger man in a guy like Adam Radwan. But anything below double digits against Newcastle, I have to snap up for Harlequins. I think they're well coached, really good side. And yeah, there's still heaps of talent left in that side, even without the guys missing.
Yeah, no, I agree. They should really be covering this cap, but I'm just going to be nervous on the first game. Newcastle I think, if I recall, they come out the blocks quite well normally. They have a good couple first months, and then they fall off a complete cliff. So I'll be a little bit wary. But John, good, keen to hear what you think.
I'm just going to echo your sentiments there, really. It flies against all logic, and everything that's been said is spot on. But just purely on a hunch, Newcastle at home will come out of the blocks fine. They've got a bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're the most northerly club in the Premiership. Everyone writes them off. They've got the lowest budget. No rock stars apart from Radwan. But they've got Will Welch back. He's an inspirational leader. And they'll have belief and then nuggety. And they'll still see Harlequins as soft southerners who need to be put in their place. And if there is a banana skin for Harlequins this season, Newcastle away, some 300 miles away, up the M1, they'll be looking at the fixtures thinking, oh, why did we have to draw Newcastle first up? So, yeah, I'd be too nervous to back Harlequins on the
Yeah, it's a tough. Look, I think I totally agree. But I just worry about Newcastle. I think in the return fixture we can back Quins by 30, but this game not so sure. We'll move on to the last Premiership game of the weekend. As you say, if it all goes ahead, and also I love this fixture as well on the eye. I think it's a nice Sunday game to end. Gloucester versus Wasps. Gloucester, rightly so. I think mine are the favourites here. I think we've discussed them in depth already with the players they've got. Not so sure about Wasps players coming in and out. I think they've lost a lot more than they've brought in. So I think Wasps are going to be extremely green this season. In my opinion, I think they're going to be a lot of points leaked in their games, including this one. But John, how do you feel this one's going to go?
Yeah, they've lost a lot of experienced heads, haven't they? No more experience than Jimmy Gopper. Such a 40 now, isn't he? Bectoa in midfield. James Gaskell's gone off to Japan. Rob Miller's looking for another contract. There's loads of experience gone, and it's time for the young guns to step up. But I think it's perhaps a season or two early for the likes of Charlie Atkinson and Sam Spink in midfield. And also, you're looking at the back three. Wasps notoriously go back to top try scorers, have a lot of players who've gone on to be top try scorers, the likes of Christian Wade and people like that. But I wonder whether the back three has enough quality in terms of depth about them. Josh Bassett's a very good player, underrated player, but he sets up more than he scores himself. The fact that they've been playing Francois Huhard on the wing a lot rather than the scrum half alludes to the fact that they perhaps haven't got the depth they need. I really do think they are light on finishes, and with the changes to the midfield, it might take a while for them to click in the back line. Gloucester, I really hope that they do back up everything we've been saying, but they are that team, especially in games where they're expected to win, that perhaps can let you down, but they really do need to put a statement out here. I think with all Wasp money problems as well, we've talked a lot about Worcester, but Wasps have had a dark cloud hanging over them all summer because of the failure to repay the bond scheme holders their money. There's been a lot of murmurings and rumours that have perhaps proved a distraction. That could work against them. The players have said it's not affected them, but of course it's affected them. Gloucester, relatively stable by comparison, got the squad that we've talked about at home with a big crowd behind them. They really do need to beat Wasps by the 9 points, and I think they will, just about. Maybe by 11 to 15, I believe.
Yeah, Gloucester on the minus from John. Conductor, what do you feel on this one?
Yeah, completely in agreement with what John says there. Yeah, this is actually my strongest bets if the Premiership goes ahead this weekend, this will be by far my strongest bets. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I look across the starting lineup for Wasps and a couple of the friendlies, and there just seems to be some big holes there. Obviously a guy like Alfie Barbary is fantastic, a really, really dynamic player at 8. But really missing a guy like Jack Willis, he still needs to come back. I think Joe Launchbury is injured, if I'm not mistaken, or he might be touch and go for this weekend. I don't know if he's going to be in there, but I think it's and Jimmy Gopeth, two very, very experienced centres. But for me, I focus on that Gloucester side, and really there's this quality all over that park. Love Ollie Thorley. I love Harris. As I said, I enjoy Hastings. When you've got loose trio options of Ackerman, Geordie Reid, Jake Pelledri, it's just you spoil for choice there. And Albert Tuasui, really cheesy. That's like a Christmas list. So so really, and I enjoy Freddie Clark as well. So it's tough to see Wasps, holding within this handicap when that Gloucester rolling maul or driving maul gets firing. It's not going to get stopped. So and I don't see much in that Wasp side to be able to stop it either. So for me, this is a big Gloucester win. Yeah,
I totally agree with you guys there as well. Well, that brings us to the end of this weekend's games and English Premiership. It's been great chatting with you guys, and I hope the guys who've been listening got some useful information and knowledge, and we'll guide them into a winning punting weekend. John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Before you go, do you have any top best bets for this weekend, even if it's the outrights for the season? Do you have any real strong best bets for any of the games that we've discussed? Mute.
You think I'd learn by now, wouldn't you? Gloucester on the handicap.
Yeah.
Fancy the home teams actually this week when you look at it. I go with a clean sweep of home wins. How about that?
Clean sweep of home wins and Gloucester on the minus. Top bets. That sounds pretty good. Thanks, John. Well done on your debut. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining, and obviously best of luck for the all betting weekend and season. I'm sure you guys can see John's obviously Twitter handle. Very, very, very prolific on the English stuff. Got me over the line a few Sunday Premiership games last year, so definitely worth a follow. You guys know your stuff, so give him a follow, and looking forward to following through the season. Hopefully get you back on the show with Brent sometime in the future. It should be good.
If you're happy back, I'll be delighted to jump on the call. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And enjoy the season. It should be a roller coaster, both on and off the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's for sure. And yeah, thank you, John.
Cheers, John. All the best, mate.
All right, cheers.
All the best, mate. Conductor.
Yep.
Yeah. Been great. Long show at the moment. That's been good. I think we've gone through nice detail of the game. So yeah, we'll move on to our favorites.
NPC.
The moneymaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, yeah. So the NPC, yeah. Let's go through it. I think there's one or two nice games looking at this weekend. But yeah, I've said in the show last weekend as well. I mean, I don't even know what the words are. It's just, but one game win, next game lose. I can't get even like two games almost back to back. It's either on the bubble by 1 point, or I'm like out by like 30. Like, so,
yeah.
But anyway, I still play it. I still love it. I still get up with you in the mornings. I still the love of the game.
Yeah, it's definitely a love-hate relationship with the NPC at the moment, and I just think it's a lack of overall quality in NPC with just too many players vacating to overseas clubs that NPC can't really support as many clubs that in terms of keeping a really quality front overall. So there is a lot of gaps in terms of quality players in these sides, etc. He added to that basically. I wouldn't say schoolboy. What's less than schoolboy? Probably primary school refereeing added to the mix. My comments on Twitter made it to the NZ Herald about how completely amateur the refereeing is in this competition, where the TMO couldn't see a hand when the guy's hand was in touch. You couldn't see it, but somehow saw it 20 seconds later. If that happened in a Pakistan cricket game, there would be investigation into betting flows, and I'm actually not even joking. So it's actually quite bad. But onto this game. Waikato have been absolutely amazing. Hey, I mean, I think one of all the best defense in the NPC at the moment. Obviously losing Luke Jacobson to the All Blacks. He is a bit of a big loss. I really love him in 8, but other than that, it's pretty much a full strength Waikato side. Just I would have preferred D'Angelo Laua at 10 and DMAC at 15, but DMAC back at the pivot at 10. But this is an absolutely strong Waikato side, and it's tough to look past them winning this game. I think in places you can get 8 to 10 on them. That's what I like. Auckland. Then again, if you look at Auckland's side, that backline is absolutely stacked. Harry Plummer, Salesa Riasi, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Bryce Heem, AJ Lamb, Jordan Trainer. That's an absolutely cracking backline. But missing two big names for me: Lenny Apasite at hooker and Blake Gibson at flanker. Jackson Pugh is okay at 8, but they're just that Lewis Cho is not fantastic. Vikena too is not bad, but you would have preferred Lenny Apasite, and obviously missing Alex Hodgman this weekend. But Angus Taubau at starting at tight head. But so I was tempted to take Auckland. They burnt me last week. Holy moly, they were 6 points up. They with a totally dominant scrum. Should have got another penalty try. The referee didn't award it to them. Then Northland ran the length of the field and scored a 7-pointer. So they let me down. If they couldn't beat Northland away, I don't hold too much belief in them to beat Waikato away. This points line has dropped quite considerably. It started about 52, 53.5. It's now at about 46.5, which is low for NPC. That's really low. There might be a little bit of weather around, but geez, at 46.5 in NPC, I haven't seen the referee for this game, but one feels you got to take that. But if you look at the history of these two teams, they do often play very, very low scoring games. And like I said, Waikato's defense is one of the best in the NPC. So if you're going to take points, just be very, very careful. Maybe take an alternate overs, maybe at 39.5. You could probably get that at about 4 to 10, 3 to 10. Maybe slot that in one of your multis. But in terms of this is not a big bet for me, but I would rather take Waikato. Yeah, for me, all signs point to them.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Auckland. I love a team with Ray RC in it, and I do love their team. But you just can't trust Auckland, can you? And I think Waikato can build on that win last week. They were pretty impressive. I agree. You've got to be on Waikato, but I can't. I worry about Auckland. So I agree with you. I'm not putting a lot in. I think it's a great game tomorrow morning to wake up to on a Friday with a nice cuppa and have it on. But hopefully, I say that I can be disciplined and stay not too deep in it.
Yeah.
Especially if the English Prem games are going to be off, because they were. I was hoping they happened.
Then it forces your hand to get involved in the NPC games, which is not ideal.
Yeah. But it's going to be a nice game to watch anyway. So looking forward.
It should be good. Hopefully, it's a good game. Like I said, I just hope that Roger Tuivasa shit comes off, because really at this point in time, I'm putting him in the bin. Like the commentators jizz all over themselves whenever he touches the ball, but really does nothing fantastic to me.
No.
Yes, he's a league player, and yes, he's incredibly physical on the carry, and yes, he does draw attention. But when he came on against Northland, the commentators were just screaming to give him the ball, but when he got the ball, he did nothing fantastic. So I mean, to me, a guy like Zahn Sullivan is far, far, far more dangerous than Roger Tuivasa Sheikh. But let's see how he goes tomorrow morning. Maybe he proves me wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Move on to this. This looks like a cracker. Another Ramfurdy Shield game. Hawks have been holding. I don't know how they have, but good for them. So this actually looks like a crack of the game, because Southland, you would say, on the way up, even though Wellington put them away in the end, there were some pretty good moments there for Southland. So I think this is a cracker. I'll say up front now, this is one of our Southland plus here, because it's a Fernie game. Hawks Bay have to run out. I'm honestly, I think I've been on Southland once in my life, but this might be the spot with 14 points in this game. I think they're going to give Hawks Bay a bloody good run for their money. What do you think?
I'm actually completely in disagreement with you. It's lining up the minus there.
Well, this is 2% confidence, so let's.
But it's difficult. Like I said, we're going to have to look at those team sheets. I mean, the team sheet for Southland is out, but I'm waiting for the Hawke's Bay team sheets. Obviously they'll be kicking themselves for not beating Canterbury last weekend. Really, I think they were 20 odd point, 20 points to 8 up or something like that. They were well up in that game, and really, really allowed Canterbury to come back and win that game. So Hawke's Bay should be furious with themselves with that performance of theirs in the second half. To me, this Hawke's Bay side, it's got far too much quality for Southland at the moment. Lola Vizania, Tuala, Stacey Ely. I don't know if Lincoln McClatchy had cramp or was injured, but he might not be there. But even if he's not, Caleb Makene, he's decent. Brad Weber, I love him at 9. Michaela Tu'u, he's fantastic. There's just too much quality for the Southland side. Southland really, really battling with injuries against Wellington, and that's why it's important to. I often post late stuff on the forum. Last weekend, I called Southland on the plus on the show against Wellington, but upon release of the team sheets, I posted in the forum and said I went completely the other way. Southland were missing 16 players for that game, and still have a big injury list for this game.
That's what they do there. If they were getting them, that was what I was thinking.
They've got a few guys back. So Marty Banks was at he had a family thing last weekend. He is back now. Joe Walsh in prop, he's back. But Matt James and Grayson Knapp in the locks, he was touch and go for this game. Okay. Matt James, he was touch and go this game. I don't know this 8th man for Southland. I've never seen him before. Okay. Obviously Marty Banks back, Renton back at 9. But the reserve scrum half, I think, is their 5th or 6th choice scrum half. Okay. Never heard of him. But big, Solomon Alamano, he's back on the bench. So, he's big for them. But guys like Robbie Robinson, he's like 37. He just hasn't got the legs to compete at this level, and I can really see if Hawke's Bay really want to get going, they can actually demolish this handicap. I think Hawke's Bay were leading. I come against, was it their first Ranfurdy Shield game? I can't remember.
Counties. Was it Counties?
They were like 28 points or 26 points up at half time, and literally just squeaked it. Yeah. So, but like you say, the Logger Wood, as a rule of thumb, you don't want to be going on a big minus on the Logger Wood, purely because Southland will be up for it. But Dale McLeod, the Southland coach, did say, look, his guys are hitting the wall. There's just too many injuries, too many guys having to play too much rugby. They are battling, but the guys will be up for it, no doubts. So I'm going to go on the minus 13.5 here, but this is the big proviso. This is the beginning of storm week for Southland. So they've got a game on Wednesday as well. So if you don't cover the minus here, whatever the minus is for, I can't remember who's playing Southland. It doesn't matter who's playing Southland on Wednesday. Just take, even if it's minus 13.5, Southland will put out kids. Like
Waikato.
Even if Waikato, I'm sure, will rotate heavily as well. But that Waikato depth is 10 times better than Southland. I'm sure guys like Solomon Alamano will start against Waikato, but man alive, it's going to be like club players, like third choice club players. So it could be very ugly on Wednesday. So I'm happy to take the minus. If our minus loses, it's like I said, it's Ranfurly Shield. You don't take big minuses, but like I said, just too many injuries. But if this loses, I'll take the minus again on Wednesday.
Okay. Look, I'll be honest, you do know these teams much better than I do. And I'm just thinking beginning of the season, I'm thinking last week I did watch a bit of that Wellington game. I thought Southland did a few good stuff. So that's where my head is. But you say when you called it last week and the teams changed their mind, I would totally be backing what you're saying there. And I won't be diving head first into a Southland plus. So I've never have in my life. So I'm not going to do it on this game either.
So the team sheet for Hawke's Bay has just been released, and they're playing their strongest team. Chase Tier back. Lincoln McClatchy will be at 10, and from 11, near from my Tuala, Stacey Ely, and Ollie Sapsford really could. It's the strongest. I think Wisnia probably might be on the bench, but it's tough to see.
As long as Hawke's Bay don't switch off, which they did against Counties, they're going to run away with this. If they switch off and let Southland run in a few late tries, this is where this cap gets tricky, because Southland could run 2 or 3 late tries. But
that's always a concern. But then probably what I probably might look at then is a first off handicap, maybe 6.5.
Yeah, that could be
to avoid that second half switch off. But I generally think I'd probably still say with the full-time handicap, because I just think Southland are going to run out of legs.
Yeah. Fair enough. We'll move on to the next game, North Harbour, Bay of Plenty. These two teams again have been teams I've been battling to follow, especially Bay of Plenty. They haven't kicked on this season like I thought they would. They've let me down a few times, especially in games with points. They're just not scoring. Yeah. And North Harbour as well, I just find they could be anything. So this is I have to say, I've probably just got the home team here at 5 points, just because Player Plenty have not excited me or showed me anything to give me any confidence to back them in this one, really, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, this is probably my toughest pick of the week. Player Plenty, since that opening weekend, have been far better. Beat a good Auckland side, won away in Otago last week, though it was a choice game, so they did better last week. To be fair, I thought they would be better. So took Bay of Plenty, and they covered against Otago. But this North Harbour team, sometimes their line-out is absolutely horrendous. Whew. They just go absolutely missing. So I can't remember, it was like 1 or 2 games ago that you could just see their line-out was absolutely exploded. They couldn't do anything correct. So it's difficult to really back them on the minus there. Bay of Plenty have been going okay. But then again, you look at that back 3 for North Harbour with Tavida Lee, Mark Tilly, and Sean Stevenson, and that's a good back 3. And Bryn Gatlin does tend to steer the ship quite well. And I really, really enjoy Jamie Booth. It's one of my favourite players at 9. So for me, I'll probably take North Harbour on the board. I don't think I'd touch the cap. Maybe take North Harbour in a MLC.
No, actually,
I do see them getting the win, but I don't know if it's going to be pretty.
Yeah, I think you're right. This could be one that's on the cap. This looks really well capped.
But there might be points in this game. I mean, North Harbour's defence is sometimes really, really absent. And I think it's a 4 o'clock kickoff, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. When I say 4 o'clock kickoff,
yeah, if it's not too bad weather, I think this will be points. I agree.
Okay, so it's an afternoon kickoff for them. It's a 5 o'clock kickoff for them. So there could be good points in that game.
Yeah. I wanted to just quick. What are your thoughts on Bryn Gatland, by the way, as a 10?
He's actually been okay. I was never really a Bryn Gatland fan, but
yeah.
maybe it's just the poor quality of the NPC at the moment that he's looking a bit above average. But no, he's actually been going okay.
Yeah,
he makes a couple of hours from now and again, but no, he's been going okay. And I think with the 9 like Jamie Booth inside him, yeah, he's looks okay.
Yeah, like he hits the line well. At this level, I wouldn't not show but I like how he hits the line, and he does a few good things.
And he's a decent kicker for 3, so that's why it's nice taking Northampton for the overs there. He's decent at posts. Yeah,
also just back on the North, I was doing my look today as well. They've had pretty similar seasons as well. If you look at how their season's gone and where they're on the 2 logs, they're like almost identical. So even that way, maybe the cap's a little bit too high for Harbour, maybe. But let's go into counties. Manukau and Manawatu. That doesn't sound like the best fixture of the weekend. And when I first look at it, I'm thinking, no, surely there's going to be like no points in this game. And then I looked at the history between these 2 teams, and they look like they have a good old ding dong battle between the 2 of them. So
this could be a lot of points.
Yeah. So
I mean, it'll be under the Saturday Night Lights. In counties, but obviously counties still missing Etienne Nanasatura. He's such a danger man for them. But I think I did see Asi Tuwala back. I've been really impressed with Riley Hohipa at 10. I think he's quite a quality 10 there. But obviously Dalton Papa Ali'i and Hoskins Tutu go back to the All Black side. So no, none of them this weekend, and no Nepo Lalala. I'm gonna take even Manawatu get banged like a Salvation Army drum every weekend. I'm gonna take them on the plus here, and I'm gonna take them for a cheeky win. I'm part of the Turbos army, and we hold strong belief that win is coming one of these days. So it'll probably get like 6-1, 7-1 on Manawatu. I don't know what we'll get. Might look at a cheeky win for the Turbos. But yeah, points should be good. Yeah, counties love to play an open game. They don't take long to throw the ball in, get it in quick, and try and run it. And they scored some cracking tries against Tasman. I think was the last game. Yeah. I think so. Some incredible. It was like 2 crossfield kicks. So yeah, I think points should be really good in this game.
Yeah, I know. I agree. They've looked far more fluid than they did last season. More points in their games, and Manawatu go for it. And I think this, like you said, this is going to be Manawatu's chance. So they're going to throw everything at it. They're going to throw everything at this county side. So I would also expect another ding dong battle there, a couple of points. And then on to our last game, and Tasman and Taranaki, 2 teams that have been. Maybe this is the game I think the 2 teams have been a bit disappointing this season compared to previous seasons and what we were expecting of these 2. I think both of them aren't even in the top 4, which is surprising. Tasman -2 probably looking at it straight off the bat probably looks just about right. I know you're looking for a much bigger Naki plus. You haven't got it there, so I wonder what you're thinking. Yeah,
it's a hell of a pity. I was really hoping Tasman would put Wellington to the sword. And we'd look at a plus 8.5, plus 9.5, handicap here. But 2.5, it's tough. The Tasman in Nelson are, but they're just missing. I mean, a full team of players. They're literally missing an entire team of quality players through All Black call-ups and injuries. I mean, you run through that. That's missing an injury list. Guys like Will Jordan, Sevu Reese won't be there. David Avili won't be there. Lester Fanga Anuku. I think Anton Segner's still injured. Quinn Strange got injured on Wednesday. He won't be featuring this weekend, as well as the other starting lock that also was injured on yesterday morning. He won't be also starting this weekend. So they have to start two new locks this weekend. I mean, it's an absolute horror injury list for Tasman. Taranaki, I was actually, even though they went down quite badly to Waikato, I was quite impressed with some of their play in the very bad conditions. So even though it's a small plus, I'm going to take Taranaki. This Tasman side is just missing so many players. Like I said, they're going to have to probably start Max Hicks, who's a Lucy at lock, and bring in another lock there. It's just just missing too many guys, and will you have really at 10 is just not the answer. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if Campbell Parata is injured or what's happened to him. But like I said, I was hoping for a bigger plus. I'll probably still not big. I'll probably take +2.5, but I'll probably go far bigger on an alternative plus. Maybe at about 8.5, 9.5 in a multi with something else.
Yeah, I couldn't believe. Who did they play? Tasman play on Wednesday? It was a Wellington, right? They couldn't. I think it was Wellington. Did they play on Wednesday? But they Tasman on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wellington. I mean, it's not a great Wellington side, are they? Really, that was a poor.
I was just surprised they couldn't get any traction through them.
Yeah, I mean, in that game they had Sid Reese as well, who won't be there as well again now, so he's been missing. Yeah. But I mean, they both Quinton Strange and the other lock, Nkuru or something like that. Both of them went off within the first literally 10 minutes of the game. So yeah, Tasman actually stuffed there, but. I mean, literally, they're missing. They got, like a couple of handy guys like Braden Stewart at 7. He's a nice little live wire, Lucy. But and I like Northam, Lowen Northam. I think his name is the 9. He'll probably be starting ahead of Chapman. But other than that, in Alex Nankivell, obviously I like him from the Chiefs. But this Tasman side has 0 X factor. And I really think Taranaki play a similar game, a sort of quite forward orientated game. With Tupo Vaya, I expect Ricky Riccatelli to be starting, and big Gustabus Salkula, hammering it up there into that Tasman line. So I like the plus here. Yeah,
I think if I'm going to go on the cap there, I will go there, but I don't have any strong feels for this game, to be honest. Right, well that brings us to one of the games. Good role there, conductor. It's been good.
There's one more game, man.
There is. Have I missed one?
Yeah, Wellington versus Otago.
Oh, wait, sorry. There's 2 more games. Let's go. 2 great games as well. Let's go.
So this probably be my best bets of the weekend. Wellington, obviously, this is the last game of Storm Week, 3rd game in sort of 7-8 days. They've won 3 in a row now. They played a strong side against Southland in Invercargill. They didn't play a weak side against Tasman. There was still quite a number of players, and their first choices on the bench. I'm not sure if Duplessis Karifi will be coming back. He hobbled off yesterday, injured. The only concern is Billy Proctor, Umanga Jensen, and Aidan Morgan might have been rested, who might be back for this game. But I don't rate Wellington by any means. Otago will be fresh. I think Otago will cover this handicap. I really have to believe. I haven't been all that impressed with Wellington at all, and I just really think they're going to run out of gas in this game. Otago must be targeting this game. I expect guys like Willem Roy and Sam Gilbert and Umanga Jensen, the other Umanga Jensen, for playing against his brother for not the Highlanders, but Otago to do well. I'm all over the plus. So this is one of my best bets.
Yeah, sure. Otago is another one. Again, this season, just when I back them, they let me down. When I don't, they play well. And especially and when Wellington, look, I love Wellington at home. Points is usually a strategy that serves me well. So I'm going to probably, if the weather's looking all right there on Sunday, I'm going to carry on the points. And I think if I can remember, Otago won this game last season by 1 in a high-scoring game. So I'll also look at points, but Wellington are hard to trust as well this season. So I think you're right on the Otago have a good chance. Maybe it depends what team Wellington put out, because I think it is important. What I've noticed with their combos there, if they get it right, they can click. If they don't, they can't. They don't click.
Because I mean, the thing is that both, I think Xavier Numia, Asaf Amua, and Dominic Bird, and a couple of guys have played 2 games in a row. So just those names there are quite key in that Wellington setup. Specifically Amua. He's had really, that he's always on the wing and gets us bullocking runs going. So he might be on the bench. James O'Reilly, it's not bad, but he's not anywhere in that dangerous class as Asaf Amua. And I like that. I like Cameron Miller at 10 for Otago, and more than likely Joshua Wane at 15. That's not an amazing Otago pack, but I expect them to do the business there at Sky Stadium.
No, you're right. Coming off the Wellington's game and them coming in fresh, they have a really good shot here. That is a good shot there. This is the last game, Canterbury Northland. Minus 14, another big cap as you would expect for the Canterburyans. Northland, much better this season. They are getting amongst it and playing some good rugby. But I battle to ever go, they're like New Zealand, I battle to ever go against them at home on a minus. We'll take the plus against them. So, what are you thinking?
Yeah, geez, Kent have been absolutely melting teams. Geez, they've been playing some good rugby. This might, I think, Northland probably a season ago. You would have taken this with you would have put the farm on this. But Northland have gone well. I think they've won 4, lost 1, and cost me my bet last week. It's absolutely furious. Rivers Rayhana slotting him for 50 meters to win that game. So. But obviously missing Offa Tuanga Fasi and Jack Hood, who he's injured. You might potentially see Rene Ranger. I saw he was training this week with Northland, the Tanifa, and probably the most gorgeous man, Tom Robinson, Big Red. He's like a red-headed Nick Slaughter from Tropical Heat, running with his ponytail fluttering in the wind so beautifully. But so I enjoy Big Red. Canterbury on this, it's tough to see Northern holding them. They've Northern been punching well above their weights and really been doing well. But it all depends on Canterbury's mood. I think that game against Hawke's Bay, they were just tired. They like I said, they played 3 games. That was the end of the Storm week against Hawke's Bay, and still managed to come back and win that game. So that to me is just a sign of a quality team. I really like the loose trio. Very sad about Cullen Grace. He's a big loss to them. But Christie and I can't remember the guy from the Highlanders. He's a decent Lucy. I think I just can't remember. But really 2 good Lucies, and Christie and that other chap. 2 good, some good young locks. And you got years of experience in Franks on the propping side. I really like this Bell at hooker for Canterbury. And obviously guys like George Bridge and the Punivai and Bohipi. So there's really, really good quality to this Canterbury side. I've got them to put Northland away.
Yeah, no, I agree. I enjoy Northland. I actually enjoy watching their games for whatever reason. I don't know their team that well, but I agree. I think Canterbury this season, the way they're playing, where they cut it, Northland are just too loose. So Canterbury get that machine rolling. I don't see how Northland are going to live with them. So I think this is a Canterbury 20 plus point win as well. There we go. We made it to the end. So So we'll do our bets. If you want to go and give your best bets the weekend, Brendan, sure. I'll give a couple of mine and
so I mean, like I said, I got to take. I was lining up at a Otago plus. I was hoping for plus 7.5, plus 8.5, but I'll take plus 4.5. Really, really like that. Then probably Gloucester. If that game goes ahead, Gloucester on the minus would be my other best bet. But like I said, I'll probably also be taking a bigger plus on Taranaki than a bigger plus on Otago as well in a multi. Sorry, I'm just trying to review quickly the other games.
Lots we got through.
And then probably be maybe take a smaller minus on Hawke's Bay. Combine that with maybe a North Harbour on the board. But yes, sorry. So straight outright bet. Yeah, I'm going to take a Otago on the plus. Probably look for points in the counties. Might not 2 games. There should be quite a good good couple of points there. Brett Cameron is a decent kicker, and they show that. Oh yeah, sorry, it was actually Manawatu versus Tasman. Manawatu scored some great tries at the end against Tasman, so they showed they can get the pull over the line. Yeah,
that sounds good. I hope you have a successful weekend. I mean, I'll give my 3 bets that I like. I've been turned on Northampton. I'm going to go for the Northampton plus. I love the Gloucester minus, and I like the Canterbury minus. That'll be my 3 best bets. But thanks, conductor. It's always a pleasure. Been a good show. It's been a good one, and everyone online. everyone on the chat. Sorry, I'm not as pro and fluid as Brent there, flicking around the buttons here and getting everyone involved. So I do apologize if you've commented and I haven't mentioned. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you have a great weekend, and hopefully hope the games go ahead. Obviously, God bless the Queenie's soul. I hope she rests in peace. But if we get some good rugger, they'll be good as well. And yeah, hopefully see you guys soon and take it easy. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Yeah. Push the right button. Yeah,
yes, cool. That was long, eh?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was. I wasn't expecting it, but it was good to have Johnny going ahead there and give me his input there.
Yeah, so, it's good to have guys like that who actually have in-depth knowledge, because it brings a nice informative angle.
Yeah,
as opposed to old Oracle, who would have said probably we'll sail about 50 plus kind of thing. So.
Well, this is it, because I've actually done done some work with John as well, some writing, and we have side chats as well. And I know he's heavily involved, and we would talk about, we're doing some content sharing stuff, and he's a good guy. So as you can tell, he knows he loves his stats as well. Like I know some guys are big on their stats. I'm a stats as well, but not the biggest part of my.
Yeah. Some guys are some guys are pure field punters, like Handicap. He's a pure feeling punter, and some guys are very statistic based punters, and they realize that I'm not saying it's wrong. It's fine. Everyone has their own style, right? But I know some guys that hide completely behind the stats. And that just drives me nuts. That's just me. But then they go, well, the stats said that, so I'm not my fault. What's that? No, I agree. Like betting stick, he's like pure stats. So and it's like, sometimes there's bets are like you can't put that down. It's like, but there's like certain games. The stats tells you that you put it down, but you're ignoring a lot of information.
Correct. There's sometimes the stats are obvious that you have to take the stats. But you just don't tell you where the referees, what mood they were in, what the team sheets were. There's a lot of, for me, there's a lot of subjectivity and what's the word? I know, different things that at play all the time. And I don't know about you. Just because I'm like sad and haven't had a life for the last 2 years. I know you watch a lot of rugby as well. I watch a lot of rugby, and I feel I know. So for me, matchups are very important. Form and I'm pretty good at not having recency bias, but also the players. If I can see a mismatch at 9-10 or on the back, that's how I normally come to my stronger field. And then stats, of course. If the game hasn't gone over 40 for the last 4 games, I'm like, okay. And also, French rugby stats are quite good. If you see low scoring. I'm saying I've noticed, and I've said I told you that pro DT is going well, because certain matchups, these teams don't score against each other, and it's true. They literally don't. It's 6 points in the first half, and it's 20-12 by the end of the game, and it's every game. It's weird. It's only French though, but then there's other games where they will just hack 60 points a game every game.
But
it's good. Well, let's hope we get some good rugger.
Well, let's hope the Premiership goes ahead. I don't think so, but let's hope it goes ahead.
Yeah. Actually,
because I see the games in Scotland have been cancelled.